question here is asking to find the actions that survives iterative elimination of strictly dominant strategies. So we will basically keep removing the strictly dominant strategies until we have as few actions as possible. So here, let's look at the role player's action first. So if I choose A, I'll get 2, 3, 4. If I choose B, I'll get 1, 5, and 2. So sometimes A is better, sometimes B is better. So none of them is dominated. So similarly, you can look at C. Sometimes C is better than A, sometimes A is better than C. So C cannot be dominated by A. And similarly, we can look at D. Also, sometimes A is better, sometimes D is better. So none of these are dominated by A, and none of these dominates A. So we need to do the same thing for BC and BD and CD. So if you compare all of them, you can see that none of them dominate each other. Then the next thing is look at the column player. So I'm comparing, if I choose A, I'll get these four numbers. If I choose B, I'll get these four, and C, these four. So if you compare, I think, A and C, no matter what the role player is choosing, C is always larger than 8. So 3 is larger than 2, 3 is larger than 1, and 9 is larger than 6. So that would imply that A is dominated for the column player by action C. So A can be removed. Then let's compare B and C. Sometimes B is better, sometimes C is better. So B and C are not dominating each other, so I'll keep them. And then let's repeat the same process for the role player. So now some of them should be dominated. So for example, D will be dominated. So if you compare B and D, no matter what the columns players is picking, either B or C, 5 is better than 4, 2 is better than 1. So D is removed. Let's see if another one is removed. Sometimes B is better, sometimes A is better. And for these two, sometimes C is better, sometimes A is better. Compare B and C, again, sometimes B is better, sometimes C is better. So they don't dominate each other. So let's switch to the column player. Comparing B and C, I'm comparing this number and this column and this column. So B is always better than C. 7, no matter what the role player is picking, B is better than C, B is better than C, B is better than C. So C is dominated, so C can be removed. So now we only have one player and one action. So 5 dominates the other two. So these two actions are dominated. Because 5 is larger than 3, 5 is larger than 2, because the other player only has one action. So the only action pair that survives the iterative elimination of strictly dominant strategy is the action pair B and B, or the outcome 4 and 5.